Well, the theatre and the drama of the Premier League continues, guys. Wowee. Outspoken commentator, broadcaster Gary Neville, who, let's be honest, can be a bit of a sausage at times. And again, let's be honest, that's happening more and more increasingly. He's become quite peculiar in the last few years. He has. But this is a big old story. He's done a statement on his social media because he's been, seemingly banned from Nottingham Forest for the final day game. Of course, Sky Sports are doing the broadcast between Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea, which is a massive crunch game tomorrow afternoon in the final fixture. Of course, the Champions League playoff, essentially, isn't it? And it'll be an amazing atmosphere away in the City ground. And Big G Nev isn't allowed to commentate, and he was booked to do it, and he's not allowed in the stadium, it would seem. He's made a statement on it. We're going to react to that. The whole story is pretty crazy, of course. This circles around Forest's owner, Marinakis, who's a nutter. He's an absolute crazy. Just go and Google him and some of the stuff he's done. Though he has been successful of late with both his clubs, Olympiacos and indeed Nottingham Forest. At minimum, they've qualified for the Conference League. Good chance for the Europa League. A bit of a chance for the Champions League if they beat Chelsea and stuff goes their way in other games. So it's been an amazing season for them. But we're going to get into this, and I'm going to read a little bit off the BBC article from BBC Sport. Guys, welcome back. Multiple uploads here on this YouTube channel every day of Football Yannick, talking about the biggest stories in world football, or at least the ones I find most interesting. Transfers, big match results, reactions, title wins, controversies, and stories like this. Thank you so much for your continued support. It's been a lot of positivity and lots of new subscribers. So thank you. You're all welcome. And we're going to crack into this now. I'm going to pause the recording to sip my coffee because I haven't finished my morning coffee yet. And it gets me going. All right, then. Reading off the BBC. Forest ban Neville from stadium for Chelsea game. Sky Sports pundit Gary Neville has said Nottingham Forest have banned him from the City ground for their final Premier League game of the season against Chelsea on Sunday. I wonder if it's just for this game. I guess it's just for this game because it would be mental if they prevent him from doing all Sky Sports commentary there next season and beyond. He is a high-profile guy in the broadcast game, and it's just, can I just say before we get into this, he is so unhelpful because it's 1,000% is coming from Marinakis, the guy at the top. 1,000% is. He, last season, he almost certainly, okay, I don't know for sure, so I've got to say, for my own protective reasons, I'm speculating like everyone else in global football fan media is. But that statement they made last season with the conspiracy about the Luton fan, the recent statement that was put out that literally seemed like it felt like it was just him writing it, talking about how much of a great guy he is from the official Forest statement. And of course, him going onto the pitch and all this other stuff. Look, I'm sure he's passionate. He wants his team to win. But my word, we're talking about serious main character syndrome from this guy here. Like it's pretty, like, to the point where you see a lot of Forest fans that are obviously thankful for the position they're in. But, you know, there's a high-profile Forest fan and Matt Davis-Adams who covers Chelsea, and he's not overly happy with the behaviour, how it's been. I've seen other high-profile Forest fans. Is it Daniel Story as well, like journalists and ones that probably wish he just didn't behave like that. Let's read on. The former Manchester United and England defender said he was informed by the broadcaster that Forest would not give him an accreditation or access to the stadium as co-commentator. The 50-year-old said on Instagram, "I've had no choice but to withdraw from the coverage." So, ladies and gentlemen, we won't be experiencing any ooh. Look, commentary is a hard job. He's a great professional, Gary Neville, over his illustrious broadcasting career. He's outspoken. A lot of Man United fans have like him or frustrated with him for the way he speaks Man United. Personally, I think he's been a credit to the industry for a long time. He's a great interviewer as well, as we've seen. But I think he has gone a bit weird the last few years, and he does just as a fan, as a viewer, as a punter, he's increasingly doing my head in more and more, I must say, with respect to, you know, his career and all that kind of stuff. BBC Sport have contacted Nottingham Forest for comment. Neville criticised, of course, Evangelos Marinakis on X after the Forest owner marched onto the pitch and spoke animatedly with manager Nuno Espirito Santo following the late goal of Leicester. We think, by the way, that was to do with the substitution of Anwanyi, who, of course, had a really life-threatening injury with like ruptured organs or something terrible, but fortunately it sounds like he'll make a full recovery. Gary Neville, ever the reactionary guy, posted on X, scandalous from that Forest owner. Nuno should go and negotiate his exit tonight with him. The Forest fans, the players and the managers do not deserve that. A little bit hyperbolic there. I do think that's a little bit much. I do think it's a knobby main character syndrome move from the Forest owner, but scandalous, he should negotiate his exit tonight. It's a little bit much. Forest later denied Marinakis' exchange with Nuno was a confrontation and described the subsequent situation as, quote, fake news. The club said the incident was because of Marinakis' frustration with the striker. Yeah, you got the substitution and the injury, yada, 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 which is true. And to be fair to Marinakis, so I watched that clip and I was like, it really didn't look that bad. For like all the pearl clutching that was involved, I was like, he was clearly annoyed, was going to come on, and it looks like he's going to go to the ref, but Nuno's like, no, come on, let's just not do that. And that was it. Like, really, I mean, yeah, it was inappropriate. Yeah, I understand why people would be annoyed at it, but my word, mate, the fact how people lost their heads over that, I thought was pretty crazy. They could have just done it. Look, Marinakis was concerned about the welfare of Taiwanese. There was no confrontation. We're happy and delighted with the season. That would have been a great statement. But the fact how there was this, I don't know if I'm not going to read it now because it's absolute guff, but if you guys might have seen it. It's a long statement. It's just a PR piece about the owner, about how great he is. And it's peculiar. Obviously, he's standing there dictating, walking in a room like, and then say I'm really cool and I'm a really great guy and all this kind of stuff. It was weird. So yeah, old G-Nev did post on his Instagram. He's obviously said he's withdrawing, but he said, I've dished out my fair share of criticism and praise in the last 14 years of doing this job, and never have I come close to this unprecedented action. It is wild. Whilst they have every right to choose who they let into their own stadium, it's symptomatic of things that have happened over the 12 months with the club. And that is 100% true. The other statement last season about the conspiracy, all this stuff this season he's right. He's right. 7th place Forest can qualify for the Champions League if they beat Chelsea and other results go their way. He says this as well, G-Nev, personally, I think it's disappointing that a great club like Nottingham Forest have been reduced to making such a decision. I wish the coaching staff, players and the fans of the club all the best in their quest to achieve Champions League football. The Premier League said accreditation was a club matter, so the Premier League can't get involved. Yeah, of course it's their right. They can. It's not a good look, I don't think, because of the profile. There's Gary Neville with Sky Sports. It's the final game, and it's unhelpful noise. If I was a fan, I'd be like, oh, why are you doing this? Just stop doing. We're doing so well. Stop doing all this stuff. We're doing so well. And I think it's dumb. It's silly, and it's therefore a story. It's negative. It's more additional negative press that Forest don't need in a time when they're doing really well. So. Why? And it obviously comes from the top. He's the most hands-on owner in the Premier League by some distance. To the fact how he's always there, he's walking around, he's doing statements, he's deck swinging, and fine, it's his club, he does what he wants. In terms of banning people, I don't actually mind that. I think it's exercising like strength, but I think in this context it's dumb. I quite like it when Fergie used to ban certain journalists from press conferences back in the day. I wish my club would do that for one or two journalists. But maybe it's just unwanted noise regardless. But yeah, G-Nev defending his honor, man. Incredible scenes, really. Let me know what you think. As always, multiple uploads on this channel, Football Yannick, every single ruddy day. So why don't you become a part of that and like and subscribe, mate. Really do appreciate your support, and I do hope to see you back here, man. Or woman. Or they, them, or whoever you identify as. You might identify as a kale leaf, and you're still welcome here. So take care of yourselves, enjoy the football. Peace.